What has been the biggest culture shock for you?
I was really surprised with how pedas, how spicy Indonesian food can be. Because for Filipinos, I don't think we consider food delicious if it's too spicy. Like the level of spiciness in Indonesia with the food, it's really too much. So that was a culture shock.
What is the most annoying thing in Indonesia for you?
I think now I eventually got used to this and somehow got comfortable on how to go about it. But in the beginning, I really find the level of curiosity
Of the people
a bit annoying in the sense that sometimes, when I first meet people, they would be very much open into asking me personal questions. For example, umurnya berapa? O dami ni ka belum? I mean, those are, I think, some questions are very personal, or it would take time for you to ask someone.
Itu terlalu bagi saya tertutup lah. Tidak terlalu open untuk memberitahu semua orang tentang kehidupan pribadi kita, right? Saya memang tidak open, guys, ya. Jadi kalau orang tanya saya begitu, stop begitu. Saya tidak akan menceritakan kepada orang yang saya tidak kenali. Oke, hello guys, jumpa lagi kita di video ini bersama dengan saya, guys. Tidak lain tidak bukan semestinya Lissa Klik Reaksi. Dan salam sejahtera saya ucapkan kepada semua yang hadir di dalam video ini. Terima kasih banyak-banyak karena masih bersama dengan kita di sini, dan kita harapkan semua yang menonton di sini sehat selalu dan dimurahkan rezekinya. Amin. Begitu kan, guys. So di video kali ini kita akan melihat ini, guys, di mana Anda sudah nampak di judul saya dan juga saya punya thumbnail. Jadi jangan kemana-mana. Sebentar lagi kita akan melihat bersama, guys.
Reaction. Are you ready? Lissa Klik Reaksi. Don't forget to subscribe, guys.
Di video kali ini kita akan lihat ini, guys, di mana biggest culture shock of foreigner in Indonesia. Apa dia bilang ni, kejutan budaya yang sangat terbesar sekali kepada pelancong di Indonesia, di dalam Indonesia, begitu. Jadi apakah culture shock yang mereka dapat di Indonesia ni? Saya pun ingin tahu lah, begitu kan. Jadi tanpa berlama-lama, mari kita lihat di dalam video ini, ya, guys.
What has been the biggest culture shock for you?
The culture of Indonesia and Pakistan is totally different, my brother.
The election over here is quite different from Tanzania.
I don't know if I want to use the word annoying, but something that I had to get used to.
Ladies and gentlemen, through this video you'll learn how distinct Indonesian culture is, even compared to other countries with similar cultures. Watch and you'll get to experience life in 5 different countries without actually visiting them. Where are you from and how long have you been in Indonesia for?
I'm from the Philippines, and in total I've been in Indonesia for maybe 3 to 4 years.
What do you think about Indonesia so far?
I'm enjoying Indonesia, and I think that goes to show with how long I've also been here. I like the food, I like the people, mainly because I think Filipinos and Indonesians share a lot of similar cultures and background.
What are the similar things, biggest similarity between Indonesia and the Philippines?
I would say it's mostly about the value system. For example, Filipinos really value family, which I've also been seeing here. Filipinos are very accommodating and warm people. The same character with Indonesians. A lot of our cultures, like let's say being respectful in general, we're also very similar with those.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You've been here for years now.
Yes.
What has been the biggest culture shock for you?
I was really surprised with how pedas, how spicy Indonesian food can be. Because for Filipinos, I don't think we consider food delicious if it's too spicy. Like the level of spiciness in Indonesia with the food, it's really too much. So that was a culture shock. Another is the culture of eating in lesehan, in the floor. Yeah. It's not that we don't do that in the Philippines. We have certain occasions when we eat also, on the floor. But here, it's a very common practice. And so that's really something new even for me. I had to get used to that somehow. And maybe the last one is how there's so many motorcycles. Even like with a young age, they are able to drive the motorcycle. I've also experienced how like old women, yang ibu-ibu itu, they would wonder and they would ask me like, why don't you know how to ride a motorcycle? And I would be so sometimes malu atau like surprised because they will, mereka tuh mau bonceng saya gitu. And so it's funny because like in the Philippines, you won't see old women like that who would be brave enough to ride the motorcycle.
Do you ride motorcycle?
Yes. One of the best things in being in Indonesia is learning eventually.
What about the biggest differences you have seen between Indonesian people and the Philippines people?
I mean, I cannot speak for Indonesia as a whole, but being exposed to Java most of my time, I would say that maybe Filipinos could be a bit more either aggressive or kaya kras character niya. Unlike for Javanese people who are just, very calm, very soft, and they always try to settle out things in a very bureaucratic way as well. Filipinos would tend to just express our emotions and opinions more freely.
What is the most annoying thing in Indonesia for you?
I think now I eventually got used to this and somehow got comfortable on how to go about it. But in the beginning, I really find the level of curiosity
Of the people
a bit annoying in the sense that sometimes, when I first meet people, they would be very much open into asking me personal questions. For example, umur niya berapa? O dami ni ka bloom? I mean, those are, I think, some questions are very personal, or it would take time for you to ask someone.
Yes. Kalau di Malaysia tuh memang jarang orang tanya macam ni ya. Sudah berkahwin belum? Semua yang personal lah memang kita tidak akan pertanyakan kepada orang-orang yang baru kita kenali, begitu kan. Namun kalau secara bagaimana soalan yang biasa, siapa nama, tinggal mana, itu biasalah. Tapi kalau sudah lebih mendalam tuh kita tidak terlalu praktiskan untuk bertanya begitu kepada orang, ya begitu. Jadi itu terlalu bagi saya tertutup lah. Tidak terlalu open untuk memberitahu semua orang tentang kehidupan pribadi kita, right? Saya memang tidak open, guys, ya. Jadi kalau orang tanya saya begitu, stop, begitu. Saya tidak akan menceritakan kepada orang yang saya tidak kenali. Kita lihat apa lagi pendapat daripada orang Filipino ni yang tinggal di Indonesia, guys. Dan saya dengar di sini dia sudah pandai berbahasa Indonesia juga. Itu is kind of good things lah, begitu kan, guys. So mari kita lihat lagi.
So to meet someone for the first time and have those questions asked was a bit annoying in the beginning. But then eventually, as I got to learn the culture and got to learn more about the people, I realized that, ito naman niya basa-basi.
Yes, small talk. When you leave Indonesia later in the future, what do you think you will miss the most?
The Santai culture. I really like the idea of slow living in Indonesia. Filipinos tend to have a faster pace of living, I would say. But here, I learned a lot. There's a lot of wisdom in taking your time. I mean, not for every circumstance is good, right? But in general, there's wisdom into learning how to let things be. And so, maybe that's something that I would really miss when I go back. I think because I've seen how there's so much benefit to it. For me personally, it's a practice I would continue doing.
Nice. What country are you from and how long have you been in Indonesia?
I'm from Pakistan. I have been in Indonesia for the past 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
What do you think of Indonesia so far?
Indonesia, no, I'm living in Malang. I stayed in Malang. Malang is so beautiful and the weather in Malang is so nice. It's always cold. I like cold actually.
About the weather, is it better here or back home, Pakistan?
In Pakistan nowadays it's so panas, hot, okay? And no hair is dinging. It's okay. The weather is normal here. Biasa weather. Weather is good here.
What has been your biggest culture shock so far?
The culture of Indonesia and Pakistan is totally different, my brother. Okay, here is the people behavior say when they meet the anak kecil, children do like this, you know, like this, like this, like this. I like this one, and the chum, kiss hand of the elder one,
Like
you know.
being polite.
Yeah, being polite and the good communication. Indonesian people is so nice, you know.
Okay.
It's good.
Do they not do that in Pakistan?
In Pakistan also, people very friendly, hospitable, and good people also in Pakistan.
Okay. But they don't kiss hands.
No, it's not like that. We hug and
you
we
hug.
handshake, yeah.
I see.
We handshake and hug, yeah.
What do you think is the biggest difference between Indonesian people and Pakistani people?
Here in Indonesia, the food is makan. Makan always nasi. Selalu nasi. Okay, but the Pakistan, no nasi all time. Maybe once a day or once in a week. But in Indonesia, every time nasi. 3 times nasi. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, nasi.
Do you like eating rice?
I don't like eating rice always, you know.
Why not?
Because in my country, we think it's not good for health. We will become fatty. If you eat rice small time, you will become fat babies.
What is your main dish there?
In Pakistan, the favorite dish of all people is nasi biryani. Biryani rice.
So the same, right? You eat rice with
Yes,
rice.
but the taste is different. Rasanya berbeda, yeah.
Okay. What is the most annoying
tak
thing
pandai bahasa
for you
Indonesia
here
juga
in
ni.
Indonesia?
All thing is good with me, and I'm enjoying her.
Really?
Yeah. So I will not say there is annoying thing or like this. Everything is good.
When you leave Indonesia later, what do you think you will miss the most about Indonesia?
I will miss the cuaca weather, Malang weather, and of course miss everything because, you know, it's time, good hair, and people also, you know, I will miss all actually.
Including rice.
Yeah.
You will miss nasi.
Nasi goreng, I like nasi goreng, pentol bug, so I will miss, of course I will miss.
What country are you from and how long have you been in Indonesia for?
I'm from the United States, and I've been here for about 9 months.
What do you think of Indonesia so far?
I really enjoy living here. People are really friendly. The food is pretty good. And yeah, there's just a lot of culture and different opportunities to learn new things here. So
You've been here for 9 months now. What is the biggest culture shock you have experienced?
maybe one thing is the roads. Yeah, just the driving is really different here. So it's crossing the road is actually was something I had to get used to. I had to have a friend teach me when you're crossing the road. You just kind of walk, put your hand out, and people go around you. That was a little scary at first. Maybe another thing would just be maybe the food, but the food is really good. So it wasn't a hard thing to get used to.
Good shock.
Yeah, good shock.
What are the biggest differences between Indonesian and American in your opinion?
I think one pretty big difference is that in the United States, where it's a pretty individualistic country, right? So I think people are really focused on things like, you know, their jobs or work, which is not a bad thing. But here, I think people tend to be really like collective and like family oriented. I think that's one pretty big difference.
What about the similarities?
Here in Indonesia, I feel like, you know, I've met so many different people. Like I've traveled a bit, and everywhere I go is a little bit different.
Like ethnicity?
Yeah, sort of like that. There's different, you know, languages, different, you know, culture, things like that, different food. And I think maybe in the United States, because there's people from all over the world that live there, you can sort of find that as well.
What is the most annoying thing you have ever experienced here in Indonesia?
Maybe, I don't know if I want to use the word annoying, but something that I had to get used to at the beginning was, I think, being asked certain questions like, how old are you? Or are you married? That were like really personal. It was kind of shocking at first.
Yeah, Indonesians use those questions for like small talk, ice breaking and such. Are you used to it now?
Yeah, now I'm used to it. I've definitely figured out how the small talk works here. But that's something I guess that is pretty different for me.
During the first time you have been asked that question, do you answer them or what did you do?
Yeah, I think I answered. I think I tried to not look surprised because I didn't want them to think I was uncomfortable. But yeah, once I kind of recovered from a little bit of shock, I think I answered.
What question?
I think the most surprising one was if I was married.
When you leave Indonesia later in the future, what do you think you will miss the most?
I think I'll probably miss the people. Yeah, I've met a lot of people here that are just really great. And I think they're so easy to talk to and really friendly. And I think that will be something that I'll miss a lot.
You mean the people in general or the people you know?
I think both.
Okay.
I think, yeah, people I know for sure, but definitely just in general, how like I think warm people are, how, you know, easy it is to have a small conversation with somebody you don't know. It's something that's I think really nice that I'll miss. If you know, call like a go ride or something and you just have a conversation, like people are really open to just talking and asking you questions like, oh, where are you from? What are you doing in Indonesia? And they seem interested in what you're doing here. I think it's just to me feels really friendly. You know, it's a stranger you don't know that wants to talk with you.
What country are you from and how long have you been in Indonesia for?
I'm from Tanzania and I've been here 8 months.
What do you think of Indonesia so far?
It's a very nice country. By the time that I came here, I was very much inspired with the culture, and the country is, can I mix with bahasa Indonesia? And the country is lebih aman.
Lebih aman dari Tanzania.
Negara lain. You know, there are some countries, if you hear like, this country, you might get shocked. I don't want to be there because of maybe the country is not peacefully, but for this country, it's one of the peaceful countries. That's why I've decided to come over.
You've been here for 8 months now.
Yes,
What has shocked you the most?
Oh, actually the culture here, especially tribes. There are so many tribes. I think over 300 tribes, and each tribe have their own uniqueness. If you go out and you see somebody have a certain kind of cloth, you know, this guy is from Bali. For example, they have udeng, they have this kind, their own batik, kebaya. Yeah, the culture and also the language. Apart from bahasa Indonesian language, they are also speaking their vernacular languages. Like people from Papua, they have their vernacular language, but what unites all Indonesians is Indonesian language.
What are the biggest differences you have seen between Indonesia and Tanzania?
I was lucky to see your election over here. It's quite different from Tanzania. Since I have told you earlier, like this country is lebih aman. You might even see a security guy or satpam. People are just choosing their leaders, but he's here sitting, and sometimes he can even smoke. But in my country, it's quite different. It's safe, but you have to take care of yourself. So that if there is a security guy, he has to be there, maybe with a gun or what, in case of self-defense.
When you leave Indonesia later, what do you think you will miss the most?
Of course, I will miss my friends. I have a lot of friends over here. Actually, they are the ones who helped me to know Indonesian language. They used to help me, assist me, whether I'm wrong. Oh, this shouldn't be like this. It should be like this way. Ya, meskipun aku belum lancar, tapi sekarang aku mengerti. Mungkin 70% ketika kamu berbicara pakai bahasa Indonesia, aku mengerti. And I came here knowing nothing.
I think that's all. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Wow, saya suka wawancara ini. Kita lebih tahu bagaimana pendapat daripada pelancong luar datang ke Indonesia, begitu kan? Apalagi pelancong-pelancong ini ada juga kejutan budayanya di Indonesia. Terutamanya ditanyakan hal pribadi itu. Begitu kan? Kalau saya pun saya agak tidak selesa jugalah, karena itu bukan kebiasaan kita berjumpa dengan orang pertama kali bertanya tentang hal pribadi, right? Itu terlalu awal sekali untuk menceritakan tentang diri kita sendirilah dengan orang lain, ya. Apalagi orang tanya begitu secara rawak, begitu kan? It's like no, begitu kan? Tapi mungkin itu adalah budaya di Indonesia, bertanyakan tentang pertanyaan-pertanyaan seperti ini. Kalau kita tuh sudah agak too personal lah, begitu kan? Selain itu, kejutan budaya yang mereka dapat di Indonesia tentang bagaimanakah budaya di Indonesia, begitu kan? Kesopanan mereka kalau ketemu dengan tetamu macam mana, itu ada dinyatakan dalam wawancara ini. Dan selain itu, mereka juga suka dengan orang Indonesia kerana mereka sangat ramah, sangat baik hati, begitu kan? Dan orang selalu rasa tinggal di Indonesia tu nyaman, begitu kan? Dan apalagi orang luar itu mengenali Indonesia adalah negara Muslim yang terbesar di dunia, ya guys. Dan kita lihat di sini ramai yang merasa nyaman tinggal di Indonesia. Indonesia, dan semua pelancong-pelancong ini rata-rata pandai berbahasa Indonesia ya. Walaupun mereka ketahui Indonesia tuh banyak dia punya suku kaum begitu kan, tetapi disatukan dengan satu bahasa, yaitu bahasa Indonesia. Itu membuatkan para pelancong juga sangat-sangat respect lah begitu kan. Namun saya sangat suka dengan wawancara ini, kita lebih tahu bagaimana pendapat daripada pelancong-pelancong luar negara, bagaimanakah kejutan budaya yang mereka dapat di Indonesia, dan apa yang baiknya ada di Indonesia, dan kemudian mereka suka juga makanan Indonesia guys, karena makanan Indonesia juga memiliki kepelbagaian makanan yang enak-enak begitu kan guys. Namun ya, kepada you all yang menonton bersama dengan saya di sini, jika kalian ingin menonton secara terus di video ini juga boleh guys ya, masuk saja ke ruang deskripsi saya, kalian akan nampak juga dia punya link ya, tekan saja masuk ke video ini. Jangan lupa support dengan subscribe, like dan juga komen guys ya. Dan kepada you all juga yang menonton sampai saat ini, kalian juga luar biasa, jangan lupa juga support di channel ini supaya berkembang lagi dengan subscribe, like dan juga komen untuk menyatakan pendapat kalian tentang video ini guys. Begitu. Namun ya, kita akan akhiri video ini di sini. Terima kasih banyak-banyak karena bersama dengan saya. Kita ketemu lagi kalian di video yang akan datang. Bye bye guys.